Hey viewers, welcome back to Babysitting.
Hello, welcome to Adventures in Babysitting.
That's what we do.
Did you ever see that movie?
I did not.
It's a good movie.
I also never read The Babysitter's Club.
I didn't read that.
Or any other things similar to that.
Adventures in Babysitting was a fun 80s movie.
It did a little more grinding.
I'm guessing that's what you're showing me.
Excuse me.
Mara is a beast.
Nara more so. Has more attack and more defense.
Yeah, but Mara has all those great spells.
Mara or Nara?
Yeah. Mara. Mara's the one you were just showing.
Yeah, Nara has better stats.
Yeah, but Mara has better attack spells.
Right.
Like, Nara is slightly tankier and a healer, and Mara is just boom.
You guys probably noticed we have switched from normal to defensive.
Yeah, you did that at the end of last video.
Yep. Defensive is pretty much normal with a little more
Healing?
a little more attention to defense. More healing, more
A wagon
enemy
is
stat
essential
reducing.
for cruising the desert.
Because it's full of water.
You again. Huh? Where's that gem?
You
Why?
again. You've never been here
Purify my
before.
mind. A symbol of faith. God. Join. Wagon. Hector.
Take off that ridiculous scarf.
Wait a second. I don't know who you are, Hector, but you're definitely not one of the seven knights.
He's wearing his
Where's the
pajamas. Excuse me.
And from now on, you have the wagon. He's a Y.
I think he's a young man.
Is he?
I think. I'm pretty sure I checked.
And apparently he's tankier than the little girls. Yep, there is, young man.
And he's got more hit points too.
Young man. Da 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 da. I said, young man. Da, da, da. You don't have the final key, do you?
No. Thought I had the jailer's key though, but then I remembered, oh yeah, someone else gets that. Dagnabbit.
Wrong side.
Curse you. Why, what would we have done without this wagon?
I like how they kind of squish in and then spread out, depending on whether there's a place for them to stand.
We should probably talk about the different battle tactics, because I think I only used 2 of them.
I don't have the list in front of me, though.
That's alright. I can take care of that.
I know there's one that says don't use magic.
I might use that one somewhere.
There's like go all out, where it's like you don't care about what the magic, how much it costs. You just use whatever's your most powerful abilities.
That is the world's worst website. I know what that noise means. It's usually not good.
Nope. Hector just got slapped around like a little girl.
Well, if he wouldn't dress like one. Da-da-da. Da-da-da. Alright.
Ooh, metal slime.
We have normal. It's a good idea most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Characters tend to realize that they do in fact have teammates. Your offensive magic users tend to lay off their heavy stuff and attack only with what is needed to combine with the forces of your other members. Oftentimes, when the rest of the team is capable of taking out the monster with little help from the magic users, indirectly offensive spells will be utilized. On the defensive end, your characters will pay a moderate amount of attention to their HP, though, as we've already established, your characters are poor judges of when it's time to heal up. All in all, this is a good tactic to use in general, though there are times when it can lead to a battle being needlessly drawn out.
I will say overall, like, the Dragon Warrior AI is not that bad, and there's definitely an advantage to using tactics over manual choice, just because if someone goes into yellow damage when a yellow health right before the healer's turn, the healer will then heal. While if you were playing it normally, like if you're doing it on manual, you'd have to guess that someone's going to take a lot of damage.
Right.
And heal them.
Let's see. The offensive tactic. For when it absolutely must die now. Under this tactic, your magic users, especially, don't really care about anyone else. They see a monster and they want it dead. They will cast whatever it takes to rid themselves of the offending beasts, but will not indulge in overkill. Your magic users will still use indirect offensive spells, but will usually only do so when they currently do not possess a spell that will kill said monster in one fell swoop. Two drawbacks of this tactic are that it can be a real MP drain, and that you must keep an eye on your teammates' HP. While they will not entirely neglect their HP, they will pay less attention to it. Defensive. It's normal with heavier focus on defense. This means your character...
the graveyard.
Yep. Only 3 people here have ever died.
And one of them was the hero who defended this town.
Supposedly.
And this is, excuse me.
That's a good name.
Excuse me, the nurse. The armor that Ruas wore. With mysterious powers.
Which
means obviously you want it.
It lets you cross marshes without taking damage. It's the magic armor.
I recommend this inn because I run it.
So if we talk to this guy, 40 gold. Nah.
The other guy was like 20 gold, right?
Yep. Dun, dun, dun. Anyway, back to tactics.
Sorry.
Defensive. No, that's alright. Your characters will pay a bit more attention to healing themselves, though still not enough in some instances, and may occasionally bust out a defensive spell like Increase or Barrier. The only downside here is that the defensive spell usage is far from consistent and is nothing to be relied upon. Then we have Save MP. It means your team will conserve MP. This combines the offensive magic frugality of normal and the defensive tactics with the healing magic conservation of offensive. So, no MP. Save MP is very little MP.
Yep.
Use no MP is another one. Characters will
not cast.
Yeah, will fight with whatever items are available to heal or attack with. It has its uses, including saving that last little bit of MP for when you need it. Or a clutch move to get Nara or Christo to shut up with the healing magic and fight. The obvious downside here is the stymied magical offense, and the hero alone, if the hero is even present, is left to act as the healer, which I don't mind. The final one is Try Out. This calls for characters to do things that they normally would not do. Basically, stupid things like offense and defense are put on hold in favor of, let's see what this does. Under this tactic, the more items a character has in his or her inventory, the more substantially useless they will become, as they will spend that much more time looking at all of the pretty things that they're carrying. Also, your characters will let loose with spells they would usually not cast. While the drawbacks are readily obvious, this tactic sadly is pretty much the only way a few spells will ever see the light of day outside of using the Transform spell. Note, however, that Transform is far more reliable. There you go.
What is because Transform lets you turn into one of your friends?
I think so. Excuse me. And now you know, viewers, all there is to know. And now you know why I usually use normal and defense. Once in a while, I will use save MP or no MP, but that's very, very rare.
Yeah, I think I remember there being a guide that said if you can use a tryout to get like one of your characters to use a specific item.
Mm-hmm. That's how you get the tarot cards.
Right.
Because at this point in the game, you can't control her. So the only way she'll use them is if you put her on tryout.
Right.
Which I don't do.
I figured. Oh man, the armor's fake. Who would have thought that the fifth village that we went to does not in fact have legendary armor in it? I mean, to be fair, I could totally see the fifth village having legendary armor in it, and then you just can't reach it. Like, you don't have access to it until much later in the game.
Mm-hmm.
But this isn't even really well defended. There's just some old woman standing in front of it. If you really want the armor, you'll just beat the crap out of her.
But this is an RPG, and we're not allowed to do that.
I wore the Zenithian armor. Someone stole it. See, she's not even guarding it anymore.
Well, this is an RPG. We can get through absolutely anything but a stubborn NPC.
Yep.
You ran into that problem in Dragon Warrior Monsters.
It's true. The guy even said, "I'll show you, stubborn."
And then there was that little girl.
Yeah.
You're not cool. I could stab you in the throat. Yeah, but you won't.
Yeah, but she was a bitch because she liked me.
Yeah. That's why I'm so rude to all of you viewers.
Because she liked me?
I like every one of you.
Aww. This song also has a really good Hyaden remix.
If only that were a metal scorpion instead of an armor scorpion.
Now, Jason, say what you will about, Dragon Warrior versus Final Fantasy. I think you can definitely see why, with this being my first console RPG, why I got into console RPGs.
Oh, absolutely. I think it just... I honestly think it just mattered which one you played first.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is probably easily 3/4 of why somebody would like one more than the other. Because they're both good.
Yeah.
There's no question they're both good.
But if you hold one to the other, you're going to find flaws.
Yeah. Like, I don't particularly like the menu system in this game.
Mm.
Or the battle system, really. I like being able to see my characters just because, I like that.
And I don't like how stupid hard that swamp in Final Fantasy 1 was.
The Marsh Cave?
Yeah.
Well, that was it, though. That was like your, what did they say?
Crackle. You go if you want to.
There was something about the Marsh Cave in the Nintendo Power issue.
It's where they just really jump up the difficulty.
Well, I think it was like, if you can't get past this, you probably won't make it anywhere past it. If you can't complete the Marsh Cave, it was kind of like, this is the first hard part in the game. You need to be prepared.
But the thing is, then it got pretty easy again until the volcano.
See, and I didn't think the volcano was too tough.
But that's because you did it backwards.
Not always. It wasn't until I just thought a minute. Like, wait a minute, there's nothing in the volcano that I have to get the floater, to get the airship, to get the class change. But the Castle Ordeals is tough.
Never even got that far.
I thought the Earth Cave was tough, mostly because it was filled with monsters who poisoned you. All of the dungeons really were tough for different reasons. The Water Shrine had enemies that hit really, really hard.
You can exchange small metals for items.
That's stupid. Who would want to do that?
Well,
What are they going to give you? A hat of happiness?
You get awesome stuff for the small medals.
Medical herbs. That's what I should have done. I should have saved them all and just like turned them in for medical herbs right at the end. I may need these.
Village Ranting.
I'm sorry.
Which one was Bronca?
Let me look.
Was Bronca Chapter 4?
It could have been.
Dude.
I'm an idiot sometimes. I go and I type in Dragon Warrior 4 Bronca, hit enter, then I hit the maps button. The picture of the United States comes up. Wait a minute. That's not what I meant to do.
I assume the answer is no, but have you ever played Radiata Stories?
No, but I have heard about it.
So, I mean, it's an okay RPG. It's I think it's level 5. No, it's Tri-Ace. It's Tri-Ace and published by Squeenix. It has a bit of a Suikoden feel to it because you end up having to recruit a stupid amount of characters, and most of them are useless. But one thing that they did that I really, really liked was with the music. Each of the sections in town had its own theme song.
Mm-hmm.
And they had a mellow version of it for when it was nighttime, and a full instrumental version of it when it was daytime.
You know what? There's another game that does that, and I can't think of what it is. I know I played another game that does that.
But it's just such a nice little subtle feature.
Mm-hmm.
But he's like, you definitely know it is now nighttime.
Let's see. Bronca, there's a cave of Bronca, which is also known as Tulun's Cave.
Okay.
But I don't know any more than that.
Maybe Bronca is where Tulun's from?
It says, during Chapter 5, if you go back and forth through the cave that Tulun built that connect Endor and Bronca.
Oh, so Bronca is where the player's probably from.
There you go.
Or the hero's from, which is because that would be a town where that is ravaged by monsters.
Yep. I'll bet that was it.
Yep.
I'm trying to think of what game that was now. And there was another one I played where the music would change a little bit when you were indoors.
Mm-hmm.
You get half the instrumentation. What game was that? Crap.
Another really cool thing that Radiata Stories did was every character in the game had their own like daily schedule. So if you wanted to meet them, some of them you had to find in certain locations at certain times because it was the only times that they were available to be found.
That's interesting.
Yeah. But you could go there at the same time every day, and just you could literally follow certain characters around town, and just see what their daily activities were until they went home.
I've got to look up my Let's Play list because I know the game I'm thinking of. I Let's Played.
Mm-hmm. Like it's one of those games that while it's maybe not the best RPG ever, it's a game worth playing for a lot of its little features. Like its combat was quite interesting, and yeah, the music was good. The game was very tongue in cheek, but like there's a what was it? The Escapist has one of those shows where it's a cutscene one. I forget what the show's called. Unskippable, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And they show the intro cutscene to that game, and they make a joke about how they're expecting there to be one of those sad trumpet sounds, and literally right after that is a sad trumpet sound. It's like definitely not going to be the best RPG you play, but it's worth checking out.
Well, cripes. I'm looking at my Let's Play list, and the only thing I can see that I think it might have been was Phantasy Star. But I'm almost positive it wasn't Phantasy Star.
Right.
But it's essentially the same exact tune indoors from outdoors. They just like dropped the volume a little bit, and they took some of the instruments out.
Mm-hmm.
So when you go back outside, it's like the full... Oh, you know what it was? It was Okage.
I was going to say, maybe it was Okage.
Yeah, because
it's Talon.
He's also wearing his pajamas.
Yeah, that's what he wears.
I wonder why he's having trouble with the monsters. It's because you're in your pajamas. He's obviously off to Walmart.
Yeah, to shop or to work?
Well, he's probably going to buy things at Walmart, take them back to his shop, and have his wife sell them for a 400% markup.
I like how they use that as a way to show you the entrance to that secret area.
Yeah, I liked that. I don't know why Talon didn't come in here and take the stuff, though. Bad merchant.
Yeah. I also think it's kind of funny how it's a total tease. Like, you see Talon, you know he's going to be a member of the party at some point or another, but it's not now.
Yeah. I actually think that's okay. I think I would replace Mara with Talon at this point if it were me.
Oh. Yeah, because I guess you can't get rid of Hector just yet.
Well, you could probably not put him in the party if you had another person.
Yeah, well, I mean, you could theoretically go back to the wagon and toss him in the wagon.
Yeah. But I just think between Hector and Mara, Hector is more useful because he will live longer.
I feel like I remember if you have the wagon with you, and you're like you can swap people out, and if your party dies, like the next 4 people will just jump in.
Yeah. And during battle, if I remember right, if you are in an area where the wagon is on screen, you can swap people in and out.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Like if the wagon is actually visible,
yeah,
you can actually change up your party and stuff.
Hope we kill it. Oh,
in some of the later games, I remember if the wagon's on screen, you can use the field spells of anyone on the wagon, and heal us spells will affect people in the wagon as well as people outside the wagon. But enemy attack spells will only affect people outside the wagon.
That's interesting. I don't remember that happening in 5.
Yeah, I think it's from the later. Well, it might have been also one of those that came from the remakes or something. But I remember like you could swap your team out, and then have your healer start casting big heal spells, and then swap your team back in.
You can do that in Breath of Fire to an extent. You can swap in somebody, heal the party, and then swap them back out.
You're Let's Play that soon, aren't you?
It's done.
But you're actually going to show it soon, right?
It's very near on the list of things to upload, but there's currently 2 other RPGs going on at the time, so I'm waiting for one of them to finish.
Are you doing the whole series?
Well, someone requested me to do 3,
and
it seems silly to start in the middle.
That's why I did Secret of Monkey Island. Like I would have preferred to do 3 because that's my favorite of the series, but I figured considering how they're always talking about the earlier stuff,
yeah,
like it would just be silly to not start there. So I will probably at some point do 2 and 3.
Well, and, since it introduces everybody in the first game,
yeah,
every character's pretty well established come the 3rd game.
Yep.
You don't want to be like, LeChuck, it's you again. Then everybody like, we've never seen him before in our life.
Exactly. Well, I mean, like, the intro to 3 makes no sense if you didn't play the end of 2. to be fair, the end of 2 doesn't make sense unless you play 3. It is quite possibly one of the most confusing endings in the history of video games. You've seen it, right?
Oh yeah, I watched all of Thera's Let's Plays of it.
Yeah.
Never did open that boy though. Of course, that was from Loom. She was stuck on a puzzle, I think. Like going through all the options. And open was an option, and there was a boy on the screen, and had tried just about everything else.
That couldn't be Loom because you don't choose your options in that. You have to cast the songs.
Pretty sure it was Loom. Might have been something she done right before Loom. Because I remember one night she streamed like 3 different games.
Mm-hmm.
What's another one?
I will probably LP the Simon the Sorcerer 1 and 2 at some point as well. It's just because I know Thera really did not enjoy those games.
I think you should do the NES version of King's Quest V.
Yeah, fuck that.
But there's no voice acting. It's already better than the PC one.
Ugh. That game was so hard. Like,
yes.
6... okay, my first King's Quest was 1, and then I jumped all the way to 6, and then went back to 5. And playing 5 after playing 6 is so freaking confusing.
I thought 6 was a lot worse because they only had like 3 people to do all the voices. And one of them is like that Stephen Bloom kind of guy. He's got a very, very distinctive voice. And they made him do like 5 different people.
Right.
He was the guard dog captain guy.
Right. But I like 6. I think 6 was a pretty solid game.
I don't know. My experience with 6 was a Retsupre.
Well, that was your first mistake.
I did have 5 when I was a youngin', and I never made it up the mountain. So I watched Techneon do the NES version.
Right.
And then I found the Retsupre guys doing it.
5 has so many fuck you moments.
Well, that's Sierra, though. Sierra does that. That's what they're good at.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, 6 had a pretty bad one, too. In fact, it had an extra mean fuck you moment. Because in 6, there's that, the mountain of the winged people.
Yeah.
And if you
the Mega Man mountain.
If you don't have that brick from, I think, the Isle of Wonder, you get thrown in the labyrinth, and there's a skull in the labyrinth, and you can pick up the skull, and you end up in that room with the closing ceiling, and the skull does interact with the gears of the trap, and it makes you think you've solved the puzzle, and it turns out that the gears then smash the skull, and the whole thing crushes you. And so you think you've figured it out, but no, you actually need that brick, and it's the only way to survive that puzzle. And of course, once you've gone up the mountain, you can't ever go back down to get that brick again.
Mm-hmm. That's what they did back then, though.
Yeah. Though I will say I did like their copy protection, which was also the mountain, because they had those puzzles.
Yeah.
And you had to use the book that came with the game, which was actually kind of interesting.
Yep. I had a bunch of old floppy disk Sierra games that would do that to you.
Mm.
And they would give you just enough for it to be like a demo, and then you would have to enter it. Like they would say, quick, and consult your manual for the password to get into this door.
Well, that was the thing, is they would give you enough of the game to get you hooked, and then they would force you to do it. I mean, LucasArts did it too.
So we're in a lighthouse.
Yep.
Haven't mentioned that at all.
Well, you're in a lighthouse. Tulun wants you to do stuff. He's in his pajamas.
And so is this guy in the cat suit.
Yeah.
It's a furry. See, there's a face inside that mouth. It's totally a guy in cat pajamas.
Well, he is hanging out with a couple of flamers.
In cheerleader outfits, it looks like.
I think those are flames, not pom-poms.
Well, I'm looking at, like, the skirt.
Oh, yeah.
And the Wonder Woman armbands.
Well, they are
Wonder
flamers.
Woman. I could have swore this song specifically made it in Dragon Warrior Monsters.
It's quite possible. Could be one of the boss themes.
Or maybe it just... instrumentation is so similar.
That's probably more likely.
Excuse me. Good job,
Honestly,
Mara.
I don't think this was, in fact, in it.
Mara cast flame. Or blaze on the flamer.
Did it do anything?
No. Healed him to full health.
See, that was one thing I liked in Persona 3, was once you had used an ability or something on an enemy and it turned out to be really useless, the AI stopped using that spell on the enemy.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. And if they found a spell that was, super effective, they would use that all the time. I think having AI that learn like that is a really nice little functionality. Even though they're not really learning, but, it's...
It's the illusion of learning.
Yeah, and it also works out to be a really nice, remembering tool for the player. Like, I don't remember what I'm supposed to use here, but the AI do, and I'll just use whatever they're using.
It's much like the American school system. It's just the illusion of education.
Aww.
But
It's the flame of Serenity. It's like a firefly. Huh?
I was trying to think of a game that I played where you threw a torch as a weapon, and I can't think of it.
Castlevania?
No.
Adventure
Might have been
Island?
Friday the 13th.
Star Tropics?
Wait, no, I don't think it's Star Tropics. That was just a fireball.
Well, that was that.
And what an episode it was.
So I guess we get to Luna in the next episode.
I believe we do. By the way, viewers, I need to mention this now. If you're playing along, there is a small medal you have to get before you do the lighthouse. If you do the lighthouse first, you are not able to get it. It is on the ship. And if you get it, or if you try and come back and get it after the lighthouse, you cannot access it because the ship will sail before you can get on and look around.
So, did you forget to get it?
I did.
And if people are playing along, they've already missed it by now.
Yep.
Probably should have warned them at the end of the previous episode.
Probably. But I don't care.
Aww.
I cared enough to tell you. Right?
Well, I guess hopefully maybe they didn't save yet and they can get the small medal now and then redo the lighthouse.
So I'm the kind of guy that's going to tell you your grandma died a week after she died.
Aww.
Speaking of viewers.
By the way, viewers, your grandma
Call your
died.
grandma. Call your grandma. All
Yeah.
right. She misses you.
Tell them Jason and Ragnar say hi.
Right. When she says who, you say your nephews.
And if she's
she
like,
says-
I don't remember having nephews named Jason or Ragnar, be like, well, you know what they say, the mind is the first to go.
You just laugh and say, oh, grandma,
You so crazy.
you're so funny. They want their birthday money. Donate it to the website.
And then put your grandma in a home.
Yep. Make the donation in the name of your grandma so we can give her a forum ranking.
Yeah.
It's the only right thing to do.
Like, subscribe, comment.
That too.
And on that note,
We will see you next time, viewers.
Toodaloo.
Bye.
Bye.